Dancer right then, y'all. Listen. Listen, DJ, can you rewind that just for 1 second? I want y'all to, wherever you are outside, I just want, if all you can do is keep it right here and do the bump side to side, just do the bump. Just with your hips, just move your hips. But if your hips are stiff this morning,
that song makes me want to dance with my shoulders, Morgan. It's kind of like I want to do one of those sexy dances where you roll your shoulder up to your ear, you kind of look and smile coyly to the other ear, then you dance with your hips. It kind of has that kind of vibe to it.
Listen, whatever your dance is calling for, if it is in your knees, if it's in your ankles, look, move around your ankles, move around your knees, move around your hips, move around your chest, move around your shoulders, wrap your neck. Sean, I'll play it one more time. Just give us like 10 seconds. Ready? Here we go. We're about to dance. Hey, you let that beat drop. You let that beat drop. That was a perfect sample. That's so good. I looked up at the sky and then I just let it shake. Then I just let my back arch. And I was like, what? Open it up, y'all. Open it up. Welcome to Black History Bootcamp. I am your girl, Morgan Dixon. That is Vanessa Garrison. I'm in South Carolina. I have no idea where you are, Vanessa. Where are you?
I'm walking in Durham, North Carolina. So we're in the Carolinas, and it's a cute little, adorable little downtown. I've been exploring it all morning.
Oh, I love
I've never
Durham.
been here before.
It's a college
yeah,
town,
I've never
right?
been here before. Yeah, University of North Carolina. I think it's here. Yeah, the Research Triangle. So this part where I am, I just walked past the Crest building. So I assume it must be just like owned by the same people. The Crest building that we were at down in Alabama.
I don't know if I'm breaking up or you're breaking up. I think you might be breaking up, so just check your reception.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, that's what happens when you walk in a new place, y'all. Let me go back where reception is good.
Did you call Dr. Bennett? He's down there.
Oh, I didn't. And I just walked past the Village of Wisdom from Will at Black Genius.
Oh, call Will.
Poster. Yeah, I just walked past one of their posters.
I'll text you his message. Him and his wife.
Okay. Yeah.
They're so fun. We had so much fun in Oxford. They should have never invited us. Will had on a 3-piece suit with a ascot, and then he looking like Frederick Douglass. You know, his dreads is Frederick Douglass length right now. So he comes through with his little glasses. You know, he's thin and tall. I said,
yes.
Frederick Douglass.
Very intellectual.
Our friend Will runs something called the Black Genius Project. It's called Village of Wisdom, and then he has something called the Black Genius Project, and he looked like a Black genius. Shout out to all of the Black geniuses in the world, and particularly shout out to our men. We love you so much. Y'all, today is day of 21 Pleasure Principles. How do we figure out how to welcome ourselves back into our very own bodies? Because we cannot welcome people into our lives until we are reunited with ourselves. And part of that is looking to our senses, our hearing, our taste, our smell, our sight, our touch, and figuring out what makes us comfortable and pleased to be in our bodies. So that is what today is about, y'all. Day 3 is so much fun. We started with a beautiful song from Donna Summer, and Love to Love to Love You. That is the mirror work for this week. I want you to, next time you are washing your face or brushing your teeth or putting on your eyebrows, if you mean, I want you to look squarely at yourself in the mirror. I want you to blink. I want you to smile. And I want you to say, hit it, DJ. And I want you to play, love, baby. Yes, and I want you to look at yourself and dance and be present and open and flexible and alive. Y'all, I want to know, we're going to open up the lines a little bit later today. And the question I want to know is, there's 2 different questions. One question is, what is a song that no matter where you are, if you hear this song, you have to dance. You're forced to dance. Now I'm going to ask Tyrene to be the DJ on the 1-2s to play these songs. And this might not make the cut for the podcast because we can't just be playing people's music on the podcast. But I'm saying this is the educational part. We want to promote a list of dance favorites from our community. So think of that one song where you'd be like, that's my jam. But what's yours?
It's funny you're asking this because I drove here yesterday on the most scenic drive. I took all the back roads to get here. It was so beautiful. And my playlist was on fire. And that to me feels like an alignment thing where I'm like, every song's hitting. But Morgan, when Waka Flocka No Hands came on, I was like, this song.
Play that part. She said, Waka Flocka No Hands.
Go ahead and cue it up. Wale, shout out to Wale from DC. His verse goes so hard on that song. And I was just like, this is a classic. Every person who had a voice on there come through. Look, ma, no hands. I said, look, ma, no hands. I was just like, it made me feel so good. And I was deep in the Virginia countryside, but I pulled over. I was just like, just enjoy this little song and just look, ma, no hands. So I'm going Waka Flocka.
We're going to get Tyrese sometime to cue up Waka Flocka No Hands. For me, no matter where I am, no matter what mood I'm in, no matter what I have for lunch. Uh-oh. Do I hear it?
Everybody run to the dance floor when it come on.
Long as she don't care when she walks, she gets this brown skin or a yellow bone. DJ, this my favorite song, so I'ma make
I really am dancing on these streets in Durham, y'all. These people are
All right, DJ. All right, DJ. All right, my song, Vanessa, for sure, no matter where I am, no matter what feeling I'm in, no matter if I had coffee or not, no matter if I'm cooking out at work or not, is, dang, I don't even know who sang this song. Okay. Engine number 9.
Black Sheep. Engine number 9.
Black Sheep. Find that. I don't know what it's called. It ain't called Engine number 9. But Google it.
That is a good one. That is a good one.
Have it ready because we're going to play it at the end. If your song is your song, go ahead and raise your hand.
The choice is yours. The choice is yours.
But she's going to have to find the right part. I didn't cue it up. We're going to do it tomorrow. We're going to play it tomorrow. Don't worry. But if there is a song that trunks you up is too old school. That gets you drunk. That gets you lit. That makes you want to dance. Then go ahead and raise your hand, *9. And you can even put it in the chat if you're on Zoom on your phone so that we can queue it up. We might not be able to queue up one or two of them, but it'll be fun. The other question I have for you, our fellow walkers today, on today's Black History Bootcamp Walking Meditation, is this is going to take some courage. Is there somebody out there that no matter what you do, you just get so much anxiety when you be trying to dance in front of people? You just be holding it right here. You just be like, I can't do it. You just do it. I want to talk to you about it. I want to understand what happens. I just want to talk about it. And you don't need to tell us your real name. You could tell us your middle name and where your mama from, right? I'm Lene from Tulsa, right? You could say that. I just want to know somebody who really does not like dancing or has not danced in a long time or just feels afraid to let loose and don't know why, but maybe wants to. Let's talk it through. So if you fall into either of those categories, let us know. In the meantime, Vanessa, today we have the honor of talking about the one and only Queen of Disco, Donna Summer. I'm going to tell you something, Vanessa. My whole life, I knew what she looked like. I knew what her silhouette was. I knew a couple of songs. But I tell you, I didn't know nothing about Donna Summer. It's a trip. The one thing I know for sure is that Kelly Rowland should play her in a biopic. That's what I know for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Y'all better tag Kelly Rowland and say, go ahead and get on that. She would be so perfect. They kind of look the same. They got that same brown girl charisma. like, I don't know, she would be so good, and she can sing so
There's
good. There's
a Donna Summer documentary that I just saw. It's either on HBO. I didn't actually watch it intentionally. It's ironic because I just saw a clip of it. It was on, but I was like, no, we're about to do this on Back to Bootcamp. But it was, and it seemed psychedelic, like the actual documentary I was watching. But I think that's also a part of her story. But I was just like, wow, I don't know anything about Donna Summer except that I always thought she was beautiful.
Yeah, it's actually not a part of her story where, I mean, she actually passed away not too long ago, and she passed away in her early 60s, and she passed away from lung cancer, and she made it a point to tell people that she didn't smoke. She was like, I didn't smoke, and how I got lung cancer is actually, I believe, because I lived in New York City during 9/11, and because the air became so polluted with the dust and the debris from 9/11, that I believe it caused cancer in my body. And she came on record and said that. So she actually took really, really like pride in making sure that her body was always, I mean, listen, it don't happen on accident that you look like a Donna Summer. Let me tell you, like she really did. And so let's back up. So Donna Summer, first of all, was born in Boston. And I love this part of her story because she was born to people just like everyday Black people, like our parents. She wasn't born like, on the Upper East Side. She wasn't born to like creatives or writers. She was born to a butcher and a school teacher. And that makes me so happy because, I mean, one of my favorite quotes that I always talk about is when John Adams, one of the founding fathers, said that we fight wars so that our children can be lawyers and philosophers and their children can be artists. And I was just like, yeah, because I sometimes feel so far behind. Like I can never be a Donna Summer because, Eddie James just drove the bus. Like how am I leap forward that fast in one generation? Well, Donna Summer did. Her father was a butcher. Her mother was a school teacher. And then she became one of the she sold 100 million records. She had, for I think like 42 weeks straight or something, like on the top or on the 100 top Billboard charts. She had, she's the only woman in history to have back-to-back platinum albums. I mean, she just was a force in the 70s. You cannot name music in the 70s and not have her in your top three. She was a global phenomenon. Now, I'm going to tell you why that's important and why oftentimes, and I think even the reason I didn't know that much about her, and I'm assuming, Vanessa, you don't know that much about her, is because I actually think it is a very relevant conspiracy that we need to investigate. You ever heard the term disco sucks? Have you ever heard that, Vanessa?
I have, yes.
It was a whole like bumper car movement. This disco sucks, okay? People hated disco music at the turn of the like in the early 1980s. And anytime there is that level of visceral response to something, you should question it. You should question where that venom comes from. Because it's not natural to have that level of venom where people are having bumper stickers that say disco sucks. Or actually in the, I think it was late 70s, early 80s, I don't remember the right day, but there was something called Disco Demolition Day. I don't know if you ever heard of this. It was this huge thing in Chicago where it was actually it was a marketing scheme by this like shock jock, a pretty conservative shock jock who hated disco so much, and he was very popular. So the Chicago Cubs were not having a great season, the baseball team, and they hired this shock jock to market for them essentially and bring people to the stadium. And so he had something called Disco Demolition Day, and he told people to bring one disco record and to put it in the middle of the field, and they set it on fire. They had an explosion and burned it. And it actually caused a riot. People came onto the field and started stomping down the records, and it became like a big thing. They usually had like 5,000 people who came to the game. They were expecting 20,000 people to come because the shock jock was so popular. Somebody like Howard Stern or something so popular. 50,000 people came to this game to stomp on disco records. What, Vanessa? What do you think causes that kind of venom where people hate it so much? You know, people think now that this kind of division between political parties and social parties and cultural tribes is like new. It is not.
Yeah.
There have always been people who want to be radically free. And then there have always been people who don't want them to be free because it is at their expense. Now, that dynamic has played out all across political spectrums, all across racial and ethnic antagonism and historic record. It really has. In this case, let's ask ourselves what disco was in order to understand that. And in order to really understand why Donna Summer was significant as the queen of disco, we have to take ourselves back to the late 60s. So disco started in the early 70s. Vanessa, did you watch the Temptations movie?
I watched the Temptations movie, yes, of course. It was one of the things I was thinking about yesterday on my drive. No, I was like, what's the best musical movie? I thought about that one, but for me, my final two ended up being Five Heartbeats and Purple Rain. But Temptations movie is very good. Yes.
No, you're right. You're right about your ranking. But I have to, on the record, tell people to watch the Temptations movie because one of my bridesmaids' brother was Eddie Kendrick. So, shout out to Tehran in the Temptations movie. But in the Temptations movie, I don't know if you remember, there was a real crisis moment when Motown had to shift to disco. It was like they had on their like Motown suits, and then like it was like, I'm singing the Five Heartbeats. I was about to sing Nights Like This, but that ain't it. But whatever song they were singing, Cloud Nine maybe. They were singing Cloud Nine or something, and they just changed over to like sparkly psychedelic looking outfits, the Temptations, and they were forced to. And Diana Ross became a force in disco, and all of these people, they were forced to change because society was changing, and I'm going to tell you why.
Well, that was my answer, by the way, earlier when you were saying, like, what would make people stomp the records. I was thinking fear. Like, they were fearful of whatever the changes that were coming. And people, instead of trying to get comfortable with fear and push around it or through it or understand it, be acting out.
What do you think they were afraid of? Because this is the right line. What do you think they were afraid of?
That's a good question. Shoot, Black people being sensual and enjoying themselves, marginalized people finally having a way to express themselves. I don't know. Tell me what it is.
That's exactly right, Vanessa. That's exactly right. And Vanessa, from Black History Bootcamp, this is your pop quiz, so I hope you're ready. I hope you drink your Gatorade.
Look, I just walked past a sign that said Black Wall Street. Right this very second, a sign here in Durham, and it said Black Wall Street, and it was where the North Carolina Mutual Life Insurance Company was. So I feel like, give me the
Black history is alive. Here go the trivia.
Isn't it?
What significant events happened in America in the late 60s?
Civil Rights Act of 1965, Martin Luther King getting assassinated, Malcolm X getting assassinated, and that's all I got.
That's almost enough. No, that's almost enough. What I'm telling you, Vanessa, is it was a hard time. When there were race riots all across the country after Dr. King was assassinated, when people were coming home from Vietnam addicted to drugs with Agent Orange and destitute and homeless, when people were getting stomped out by the police for being radical hippies, people started to insist on freedom. And then there was a Stonewall incident at a gay club down in the village where for 4 or 5 days the police just beat and just maimed people who were non-cisgender. And all of this was happening at the same time: race riots, discrimination against sexual orientation, war, trauma. All of this stuff was happening right at the turn of the century. It is not a coincidence that this was the birth of hip hop. That the time that disco was starting is the same time that hip hop was starting. It is not a coincidence because people stopped trying to put on the Motown suits, trying to fit into the status quo, trying to play by the rules. This is when Jimi Hendrix and Woodstock came. This is when people started taking psychedelics. This is when people started wearing their hair long. This is when people put literally a middle finger up to the establishment, and mostly young people who were so disenchanted by the American dream that they wanted to dream something different, even if it was drug induced. This was a time when every single thing that was, kind of the 1950s, cookies in the windowsill, kind of evangelical Christian white normative, was absolutely beginning to get rejected. And so, yes, it was also a sexual revolution. Yes, it was also going back and reclaiming African ways. It was also a time when people were thinking about new economies and ways to spend their leisure time. And so what happened, Vanessa, is all across, first of all, Manhattan and Philadelphia especially, they started bringing DJs from the hip hop movement who knew how to loop and scratch and doing all night dance parties that had Black people in it, that had queer people in it, that had people who were dressed loud and proud, all sweaty nights. People were dancing, and it took over as a revival across the entire country, where people were tired of being angry and they just wanted to feel joy in their bodies. They just wanted to feel freedom in their bodies. And they were called discotheques. And discotheques because they actually use records, because DJs from the hip hop movement had learned how to scratch the records and loop the records so that people could dance all night long. So it became a trance in pleasure, a trance in joy, a trance in freedom. It became a cultural movement, disco. And people said that it was the antithesis of the Rage Against the Machine rock and roll. They were like, rock and roll was real. So you had like these kinds of conservative, get after it, America, like rock and roll was like the real hard hitting.
Why did you say it like that? Why did you? Where did that voice come from?
It's the truth. I was reenacting for you. But then on the other side, you got your aunties and cousins who was like, Motown used to be great. Now we got these young people out here with these little cat suits on, with these low dip cat suits and sparkles, and they out here taking these drugs. And it used to be good. Remember Smokey Robinson? They was like that too. Right. So on both sides, it felt like the change was too quick and too radical. And here you go with this woman with this perfect little body, these perfect little cat suits, this perfectly coiffed afro little sheen hair coming down, and had the voice of an angel. Cue that up again, DJ. Love to love you, love you. Just cue that up. Let me hear it, DJ. Let me hear it. Play it. Come on. Ready for it. If y'all don't dance this time, I don't have no hope. Thank you, Tyree. Thank you. Hey. Listen, if you can imagine dancing all night to that music, I'm talking all night with your hands up, with your back bent, with your chest unfurled to the sky, I'm telling y'all, this was it. So Donna Summer knew she had something great in her. She knew it because she had felt God's whole presence in her body before. Vanessa, you and I talk about this. It's sometimes hard to imagine freedom if you never felt it before. But she had felt it before. I'm going to tell you where she felt it. In the AME church, because Black people know how to be free. We know how to get free in church. She had felt it in the AME church, and she was a soloist. And she done touched God. She done been like, thank you, Jesus. She was at the AME church worshiping and breaking through into a new portal of possibility. It. So she grew up in the AME church. She was a soloist, and to her parent and every Black parent's great dismay, she did not stay in the church. She dropped out of school. She decided she wanted to move to New York City. And in New York City, she auditioned for Hair, which was an epic cultural masterpiece in and of itself, okay? That talked about all of the social issues of the day. If you haven't seen Hair, she was selected and she got the part for Hair, Vanessa. And but she didn't get it on Broadway. Hey, Pasama, my friend walking by. She didn't actually get the part. In New York, she got it in Germany, which was just a godsend. But first of all, we cannot.
That's a lesson. She didn't get it where she thought she wanted it, but she got it in another place that ended up being the blessing.
It's exactly right. And she went to Germany. She learned to speak fluent German. She married a German man, experienced a different kind of love, had a baby with him. She married an Austrian man, and she married somebody else. And I think she had 2 or 3 kids. But she went and did hair. It made her a phenomenon. It made her a global superstar. She came back, Vanessa, and then she started recording records. And she just got on the scene, and the scene did not let her go. She was the darling, and mostly because I think she learned how to be a model of freedom, not just sing about it. And so everything she did, from the way she dressed to the way she spoke, what she spoke as a free Black woman. And I was so floored by when she passed away, and she did pass away early. So many people came to the forefront to say how much she had meant to them. Almost how you and I talk about Prince for our generation, that he just redefined what it looked like to be free. That's who she was for people like Aretha Franklin, like Chaka Khan. Like Chaka Khan was like weepy, like this was my girl. Donna Summer was my girl. Aretha Franklin said, the world is never going to be the same. Look, I actually took some screen grabs. Let me see. Let me pull up my phone out here. Yeah. It's amazing. I mean, like Beyonce, like Michelle and Barack Obama, like everybody was like, this is the loss of an era. She was the voice and the face of freedom. And I was just like so moved by that, Vanessa. I was just like, when we pass away, we could only be so lucky that these icons and giants would speak of us in this way, that we were the face of a generation and the voice of an angel. Like that to me feels so exciting. So I can't wait for somebody to write this screenplay about Donna Summer. I can't wait for Michelle to play it. I mean, not Michelle, for who do I say? Kelly wrote it. Listen, Michelle could play Diana. She could play Diana Ross. That's actually so good. Oh no, Beyonce could play it. She could come back from Mahogany.
Oh my God.
But I think it's great. What
Dream Girls.
What do you think about?
Is that what you meant?
Dream Girls.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but Dream Girls ain't nothing but Mahogany.
Yeah, I know. It ain't. I know.
Yeah. No, I was going back 2 references, and that's because I got you like that. That's what I'm saying. I got you like that. But I want to open up the lines, and I want to actually just talk about. I have a question for you, Vanessa. Like, have you always felt like free in your body? Have you always, since you were like young, felt like you could dance like nobody was watching? And where do you think that came from? If yes, or why not? If no?
I have felt free in my body, but not always all the time. There's particular moments where, like, honestly, like when I used to do drill team, or like when I first got to college, I felt super sexually free away from home, or just times where I climbed Mount Kilimanjaro or rode my bicycle in the ice fields, and I feel like my body is absolutely free. Like, so I have experienced those moments. And also on the flip side, I have experienced moments where my body felt like a cage, where it felt like the air couldn't even move around in my rib cage. So I'm thankful to have a different reference for that, but I know both sides of it.
Yeah. When you were like, when is the first time you felt like you were free? Like how old were you?
Yeah.
Was it college or was it before?
I was little. Then? No, I was little. I think I've told this story before, but I used to walk to school, and it's not irony that GirlTrek is walking, but like, I just remember I always had a sense of freedom that I could go wherever I want on my own 2 feet. I felt like serene and relaxed, like I was on an exploration. Like every day to school was like a discovery. And I felt by the time I had arrived at school that I just felt invigorated. Like I remember feeling those things very young.
And did you feel like your like posture? Yeah, hold on, because I'm actually fascinated by you, because when I first met you, I did feel like you were so physically free, like actually way more physically free than I was. like your gait was open, your posture was open, your chest was open, and I just wonder where that came from. Like, did you like your posture? Like, did somebody teach you?
Yeah.
I wonder if that was drill team, or if I wonder if that was like pageantry or something.
Yeah, it could have been drill team, it could have been pageantry, but it was definitely my mind, heart, and body communicating with each other to say, like, I felt like regal inside, and I wanted a regal outfit, and I felt like sexually fluid inside, and I wanted that to show. Like, I don't think it was not intentional. I just genuinely felt like, especially when I had met you, that like I had just left Seattle, I was in LA, like it was just a time in my life where I did feel those things. And I was channeling some of it just from like music and movies, and the people who like Diana Ross, the people who I just felt like, ooh, she just looks like an absolute goddess. Like, I remember used to feeling that and like just loving it and wanting to embody it.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess the answer to my question is no, I didn't feel like that. I didn't really learn like, I hated dancing around other people. Not because I didn't like the party, but I think it was a control issue. I didn't like when guys used to try to dance with me, and like, I just be like, I have my own rhythm.
Right. And now I got to match it to yours, and I didn't ask for all that. Yeah.
And I don't want to like sync up and try to, like, so on some level, I was ultra free, where I was just like, I have my own rhythm, I hear my own syncopation, I hear my own, like, and I just want to dance. But then in reflection, like now as an adult, I wonder if that wasn't like fear of being like co-opted somehow, or being taken somehow, or like my spirit or my body being like somehow taken away from me. Because I think we have so much fear.
Or can I say maybe even intuition?
We have so.
Because maybe you had even an intuition.
It might be intuition.
Your body was like, maybe those weren't places for you to be free. I do think you've always been super intuitive and known like what's safe and good for you.
I mean, remember Casey? Of course you remember Casey. So yeah. Whoever's out here listening from my college days, there's a guy named Casey who is my quote unquote best friend. We were madly in love with each other, but we just pretended like we didn't because we were both scared. He was in psychotherapy. I should have been. Like, we were both just scared. So he was a really, really good looking guy, and I was a cute little girl in college, and we just went on library dates.
Oh my God. Have you told him this before? Is this going to be a revelation to him on Bootcamp?
Oh, he knows.
Okay.
We were just there.
I remember. It was cute. It was still sparks.
No, that's still good. We do have sparks. We still have sparks. We do. But he's married, so shout out to his wife. But he knows. We know. We were both there to experience it. We were just too bashful. And so we got a gay best friend, this other black guy named Rod, and we just pretended like it was all platonic. It was just like, but really we were in love. Or I was, I don't know, I think he might have been too. But the reason why we were so compatible is because he was dancing to his own beat and I was dancing to my own beat, and our beats were compatible. And so we would go out, and he wasn't trying to change me, I wasn't trying to change him, and we could just dance in proximity to each other, and that felt really nice. But I have to tell you, Vanessa, for the first time in my life, I couple danced and I like it. I liked it recently.
I noticed this about you when we were on the Eastern Shore, and so was there, and y'all was at the pool, and I was like, and then we went to that alley thing. That's where it was, and y'all was slow dragging, and I was like, that looked like slow dragging, like, and you can't slow drag unless you are really in sync with somebody, y'all. Your hip got to go where they hip go. Your pelvis got to go where they pelvis go. So I saw it. I did.
I'm telling you, it's not. Listen, okay, yes, me and the cowboy got it. We got it. But I'm telling you, Vanessa, it's not. It is him, but it's mostly me. It's mostly that I've let control go. I mostly don't care what people think anymore. I mostly don't care what people think anymore. And that has been, you talk about breaking curses. I come from a tribe of women who care what people think. I come from the tribe, capital T, tribe of women who care what people think. And probably about 4 years ago, I stopped. I just think I don't care anymore. I don't care what I put up on Instagram. I don't care if you see my face from this angle. I don't care if my voice is too loud. I don't care if you think I'm pretty or ugly. I don't care. Like, I don't care. anymore. And it's not in a flippant, like, I don't care about you. I care so deeply what I think about myself. And I'm trying so hard to be a good person, but I'm also faithful enough to surrender to what God has for me. And so, but the first time I felt it actually wasn't with cowboy hair. It was in Gambia. And shout out to Yanks. And Yanks and I were on the floor, and Cass and this other photographer guy who's really cute. And we were all dancing, and it was these wicked people up in there, because it's like there's a lot of sex trafficking in the Gambia. There's these wicked people. Hey, Auntie. Hi. Oh, it's so good to see you. Sorry, y'all. I'm on the call. I'm gonna come over after. Okay. All right.
Morgan, just as you said, Auntie, I just walked past the most beautiful mural of this Black lady and guy who looked like Auntie and Uncle. I'm gonna try to take a picture so I can put it on the thing. It looks exactly like whoever you must be talking to. Oh,
she's so beautiful. She's a former teacher and doula from Atlanta, and she's like late 70s and just gorgeous and vegan. And she's walking through these giant oak trees with the Spanish moss, and she has this lavender kimono. She's just gorgeous. These women here are gorgeous. But so I'm dancing. Okay, y'all, listen. I turn around, and Yankoba, who's a spiritual warrior himself, puts his forehead next to my forehead, grabs my hips, and just starts moving side to side. And I just relaxed. And I was just in it with him. He's a little bit shorter than me, so this is awkward. He makes us show that nobody where her eyes don't look up. Right. He's a little bit shorter, but he was down there. He had such command over his spirit, over his energy, over his body, and over my body. And I trusted the ability to hang in his spiritual might.
Can I tell you why that's powerful, Morgan?
Yes.
I'm going to tell you why that's powerful, because in the moments where I have not felt free in my body, and I've kind of been in one of those moments recently, it is trust. It is like, do I trust this moment to hold me in all that I'm bringing? Do I trust that it's like a safe space? Do I trust that like all those things? And when I don't feel that way, I can feel like from my root, like me tensing up and holding on and not wanting to let go, and like just not having that faith. And when I don't have it, it just feels tight. And then I'm like, can't find the beat, can't find the rhythm, can't find the release, can't find the, and you know that like I saw a therapist recently along with some other people who have been helping me to navigate my thyroidism. And my therapist recommended to me as therapy, her recommendation was that I start taking dance and that I flail. She was like, you need to get somewhere safe and just scream and flail your arms, kick your legs, scream as loud as you can like a kid, have a tantrum. She was like, move that energy on the inside. And it's just like, you have to feel safe to do those type of things.
No, me and my friend she's my neighbor who just walked by on the other day, I was having like a lot of tension and a lot of anxiety. She took me over by the creek and she just made me jump up and down and just shake my hand and scream. And it felt so much better. I started crying because it was just trapped and I couldn't get it out. And I was sad. And she just made me jump up and down and squeal. And I was so grateful. And I never thought I needed that. I always assumed I was free because I felt it in my mind, but my body didn't feel free. So I think your therapist has great suggestions. You are feeling tight. If you couldn't move your hips to love you, baby, you might need to just jump up and down and shake your hands, y'all. And just so you don't think freedom comes from a man, which, listen, it did in that case in the Gambia because I was slayed up with Yanks, right? But it doesn't, because just Saturday night, this wonderful GirlTrekker named Ebony, she's a festival coordinator, and she coordinated the Black Moses Freedom Festival for the anniversary of when Harriet Tubman came to the Combahee River here in South Carolina and freed so many of our ancestors as a military general. Salute Harriet Tubman. And so the Black Moses Freedom Festival happened this weekend, and Ebony led a GirlTrek walk, and she had all these speakers and vendors. It was amazing. She brought Harriet Tubman's family, members of Harriet Tubman's family down here. And one of them is a professor at Morehouse. And he dropped it so cold talking about Harriet Tubman. And then after, my friend Mahogany sang, and she's a visual artist and painted Harriet Tubman, and she sang, and it felt like a portal was opening, y'all. Her voice is unbelievable. Well, I'm sitting there with my boots literally shaking. I feel so invigorated physically that while we're sitting here clanking our drinks and eating our vegan food, I just got up and started dancing. Nobody else was dancing. I just started dancing. And my neighbor, who is 73 years old, Miss Sarah, caught me from the corner of my eyes and she said, "Why you didn't tell me you was dancing?" And she came and danced with me. And when I tell you we were in our own world, in the Harriet Summer family over there, Ebony and her radical friends is over here, Mahogany and her portal and her art and her DJ man is over there, and me and Miss Sarah is in the middle of the Black Chamber of Commerce just dancing and just spinning in the dark. Nobody could even see us. We were just spinning and then putting shoulder to shoulder, and it just felt so good. So I just encourage you, wherever you are, to find spaciousness in your body to channel the rhythms and the songs all around you, to stir up your own energy from your feet down, from your gut up to your head, to your hands, to raise your hands, to let your blood flow, to make your own heart go pitter patter. And then to find people like Casey who honor your rhythm, who honor your moves, and who want to move in proximity to you. And if you are lucky, you can find somebody like Miss Sarah where you can vibe with, or you can find somebody like Yankoba or the Cowboy that you can vibe. That's where 2 or 3 are gathered. That's where love is and God is. But it is a physical experience, my sisters. Don't be a brain in a vat behind your computer. It is a physical experience, love. So let's get out there and get back into our physical bodies today. Let's commit to dancing. Let's open up the lines and see if we can get some dance tracks for y'all. We put a playlist in there that's all classic 1970s, early 80s dance tracks. But what today makes you guys dance and makes you all dance? So let's open up the lines. Do we have any callers?
You can hit *9, by the way, if you want to come on the line. Sorry, you can hit *9.
*9. Also, if you're feeling stuck in your body and you need some advice, Vanessa and I have been there. We can give you some sisterly advice. Any callers?
Yeah.
The caller's on now.
Right now.
All right.
Hello.
You might have to unmute by hitting *6.
Hi.
Hello.
We can hear you.
Hello, sis.
Was that you saying hello and then I said we can hear you?
Nope. I don't got no voice quite that sultry. If somebody got a sultry voice on here, we can hear you, sis. We might have lost her. We're patient. We are. I wish you could see this lady walking through this sunflower field with her.
I want to report to everybody that I'm on a meat fast right now. Hello, can you hear me? Hi there.
Hello. Yes.
Oh my God, this is Rakita. I'm in the Carolinas.
Hi, Rakita.
Hi, Rakita.
And I wanted to say that I also love and know Pasama, so I want to say hey to Pasama too.
I'm going to tell her. What's your name? I'm going to tell her.
Rakita, I already texted her while I was out walking.
Oh my God, it's such a small community. It is such a beautiful community.
She texted me back. She said, I'm screaming. But my song is Doing the Butt. Every time I hear Doing the Butt, I got to get down. And I feel like I'm not even old enough to appreciate Doing the Butt.
Listen, that is a generational healing song. It is a generational healing song. Please, Tyrene, cue up Doing the Butt. And then we're going to bring the other caller on and we're going to play Doing the Butt before we end. Thank you so much.
I don't know if you know, but they're from D.C., Morgan, Doing the Butt people. And they performed it live at Chuck Brown Day in D.C. Last July. And when I tell you all, y'all ain't never seen no Black people go up and then go down like when we was doing the butt. But it was a spiritual experience. So yes, let's play.
Yeah, it is.
How old were you, sis, when Doing the Butt came, do you think?
How old?
Yeah, how old do you think you were when it came out? About?
I probably was not even born. I'm only 35. It's still my jam.
I know.
Still my jam.
I know. You might have been my phone.
I've been here before.
I know. But you know what? Because I wanted to bring up a quick point before we play Doing the Butt and give Tyrene some time. Doing the Butt is very African, right? The beats are African. The dropping it like it's hot is African. Everything is African. And part of what I remember the first time I was in Cuba and I saw these little girls dancing and I was judging. I was like, they almost got them out here dancing like this because I was still very judgy. This was like 20 years ago, y'all. God forgive me. And then when I lived in Africa for the last 5 years, I'd be seeing them girls and I'd be taking notes. I'd be like, now what you do? You put your hips like this? Do you move right here? Do you shake it? Like, what you do? And I just think that we teach our daughters to be tight and to be afraid physically. And oftentimes you do it for good reason because there's predators in our midst. And I guess I want to do a Black service announcement that is, first of all, get the predators out of our lives. Speak truth and say they have to go. You are banished. And then second, model for our daughters what physical freedom looks like. And whether that's you dancing in the spirit at church or you dancing in the club and clapping, I'm saying model for our daughters what it feels like to be rooted and grounded in our actual bodies and loose and free, y'all. So in the spirit of that, saints, we might have to play something for y'all, but right now we're about to do the butt. Ready? Yes! Look at it. Hey!
Ain't nothing wrong with the best of emotion now.
Yeah, just like Chuck Brown, Vanessa. Excellent.
August 22nd, y'all, Chuck Brown Day in D.C. If you ain't got no place to go this summer, you should put that on your calendar and go out to Chuck Brown Day. It is some Black fun.
That's excellent. That is excellent public service announcement. Y'all, while I was dancing, I was really dancing. I'm not kidding. I was really dancing because he taught me how to really twerk for good. And so, I was dancing out here in this dirt patch, and these people in a four-wheeler went by, and I immediately got ashamed. And I said, you got to be about it, Morgan. And then I just dropped it lower. And then they were just looking as they jumped. I was like, what is happening? They couldn't hear the music, but I could. And that's all that matters, y'all. Thank you, sis, so much. Thank you so much. Do we have one last caller? And then we will wrap it up. Vanessa, it's been so much fun hanging with you today.
Same. I really like this one. This is a testament to GirlTrek, y'all. Every day is a reset. Like, it really, whatever the past is the past, and whatever you experienced yesterday and whatever you are carrying and carried into this walk, give yourself permission by the end of the walk to let it go. And just tell yourself, I walked through it, and now I'm letting it go. And don't feel like you have to carry so much. Let these walks be restoration. Let them feel restorative. Let your mind let go so that you don't have to constantly hold on to just like the worry and the commitments and everything. Like, if you got out here and you laughed and you danced and you released in your mind so that you can lean into us, don't pick it back up at the end of the walk.
Vanessa saying that because we got into an argument on Friday and we didn't even talk all weekend. And we got on this call. I said, she is cracking up because that's my girl. And I'm gonna tell you this, because forgiveness will stop your rhythm, right? Unforgiveness will stop your rhythm. Forgiveness will free you. And the moment I hear Vanessa, she's forgiven. She's my friend. And I just encourage you to there's somebody right now that you still mad at. It's been 17 years. You still mad at them. That's why you can't dance, because you mad. You gotta free yourself by forgiving that friend that said something crazy, that other friend that tried to take your man, your sister who called you this or that. You gotta just let go and forgive so that you can be free enough to get yoked up by the by the presence of the whole universe, y'all. We got a caller here. Who is this, sis? What's your name?
Hi, this is Catherine from Michigan, and what you're saying is so true. I've been in that situation before, but I wasn't holding anything against them, but they're holding things against me, but I just give it to God, and he has released it, and all is well. But my song was Grazing in the Grass. I don't know if it's by Hugh Masekela or somebody else that made it, that I just can't stop.
I love that.
I have to get up and go.
I've never heard of that.
Oh, I know this song. We're going to end with Grazing in the Grass it is Hugh Masekela. Hugh, H-U-G-H, Masekela, M-A-S-E-K-E-L-A, or something like that, Tyrene. Hugh Masekela, Grazing in the Grass. Sis, what is your name again? Because you
Catherine from Michigan.
Yes, Catherine. I bet while they mad at you, you dancing on the floor making them mad.
Amen. That's right.
Oh, I thank God for release for that person and for anybody that is out there holding on to something that is really yoking you up. I really, really pray that you're able to release and relate. What Debbie Allen saying? Relate, release.
Relax, relate, release.
Relax. Yes, I hope that for everyone listening, that today will be, thank you, Vanessa, your kind
Morgan,
of reset.
I gotta describe this.
One.
There's a
Yes,
black
please.
lady walking across the street with some sort of kente-style cloth draped. She looks so regal, and her bag says, "I am very busy." And she is walking and strutting, and it looks like she came prepared for the day. I love black people.
Yeah, I do too. And I like busying yourself with joy and crowding in the good things in life. I really do. And wrapping yourself in kente or flowy dresses and just going through life busy with your own happiness. So sis, in your honor, we're going to get busy in our own happiness today as we walk and dance and saunter through the rest of the day. And we're going to end this episode with Hugh Masekela, Grazing in the Grass. Let's go. Y'all not gonna believe this. This is the first official PS to Black History Bootcamp postscript. After we wrapped the episode, I went across the road to the sunflower field that I told you about where that woman was walking in purple. Well, she's my neighbor's friend. She's visiting from when they met in at the AU Center in Atlanta, but she's from Boston, and she's about 75 years old. And one of my other neighbors told her about Black History Bootcamp and told her that we were doing Donna Summer, and she was like, "What y'all know about Donna?" And I was like, "What do you mean?" And she was like, "I grew up with Donna." And I was like, "No." So I asked her some questions about her. She was so enthusiastic, and I was smart enough to pick up my camera. So here's the audio of what she said. I hope you enjoy. Bye, y'all. Here we go.
Always willing.
All right. Now, what? You knew Donna Summer?
Yes, Donna Summer. Donna Gaines.
Yes.
That was her name. And we lived in Mission Hill Project. Her cousins lived in Mission Hill Project. She lived about 2 blocks up on Parker Hill, and she'd come over and play with us. Her and my sister were really good friends. You know, my brother claims that was his girlfriend, but but my brother's so far out. But Donna Gaines and she, we have this rival in Boston because they want to say that she's from Jeremiah Burke High School up in Dorchester somewhere.
Yeah,
but no, we tell her, no. She's from Parker Hill, down there in Mission Hill Project. That's her.
Stop
That's
playing.
Donna Gaines. Don't play with me. You know, I know Donna Gaines.
So
you know.
was the community surprised when she became a star, or was she always a star?
Because she quit school.
Yeah.
She would say, I'm going. I think she went to New York. I think she said.
Did.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I'm going to New York because, you know, she had been singing all her life in church. I forget which church she belonged to.
It was AME, I know.
Yeah, I think Charles Street AME, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. But anyway, she had the gift.
Yes, she did.
She had the gift.
Yes.
Her cousin Chubby was one of my boyfriends. Chubby Gaines.
Look, you're still blushing over Chubby Gaines.
He was a sweetie. He was a sweetie.
Mm-hmm.
But I
But look at Miss Sarah over there laughing.
But Donna was so, I mean, we were when she made it, we were like, oh my God, Donna Gaines. That's our baby.
Yeah.
That's our baby. And we were at a play once in Boston, and she was there. And she was about 3 rows up from us. My sister and I were there, and then her other girlfriend was 2 from us. And all of a sudden, they heard her voice. they heard her say something.
Yeah.
And they both turned at the same time because they had been, they were really her friends. And they turned and they said, that sound like Donna. And she was like, yeah. And they were all excited about each other, because those were her girls that she, they were 7 and 8 together.
But she must have been a girl's girl, because when she passed away, I was reading like Shaka Khan, Aretha Franklin. Everyone said that she was such a dear friend. So she must have been that kind of person.
Yes. Yeah. Her friends, she just loved. Oh, so full of life.
Oh, I'm so grateful you're here. I'm so grateful. Do y'all know? Do you see what happens in life? My lips are chapped. Okay. All right, signing off for GirlTrek Black History Bootcamp.